All right, this is our final example of characteristics of quadratic functions. So example 5 says the parabola shows the path of your first golf shot where x is the horizontal distance in yards and y is the corresponding height in yards. The path of your second shot is modeled by the function. Which shot travels further before hitting the ground? Which travels higher? So we need to see which one travels further and which one travels higher. So let's evaluate. This is the first one. All right, so the first one, they give us a picture or a graph. And the second one, they give us an equation. So let's look at the graph first. We want to know which one travels further. Well, you can see the golf ball goes from 0 to 100 yards. X is your distance in yards, your horizontal distance in yards. So it goes 100 yards. So the first golf ball travels X is 100 yards. All right, we can also see that 50, 25 is a point on the graph. So if you look at 0 to 100, halfway between that is 50. So we can conclude that 50, 25 is our vertex, meaning that this is the highest point. The vertex will be the turning point. This will be the maximum value. So we can determine that y, our maximum value, is 25 yards high. All right, so that's for the first golf ball. So it says which one travels further and which one travels higher. So further would be the x, higher would be the y value. All right, this is your horizontal distance and your vertical distance. All right, now, what about the second golf ball? We're going to need to look at the same thing, but we have an equation here instead of a graph. But we can quickly graph it. So let's pull up our calculator. All right, so we're going to go to y equals. We're going to clear out what we have from the previous equation. So we're going to clear that out. Now we're going to go to y equals, and we're going to graph our function that we're given for our second golf ball. So we have negative 0.02 x squared plus 1.6 x, and then I'm going to hit graph. All right, so if we want to look at it in relation to the first one to see how it's similar to the first one, what we need to do is change the scale. So let's make the x maximum, okay, that's our x-axis. Let's make it just past 100. So it's going to look, let's say 110. All right, so we can see that it's going to be very similar to this. So our y maximum, the height is 25. So 50 is probably good. Let's drop it down just a little bit. We'll go 40. We know 40 is well above this, and this one may be a little higher than that one. So let's see what happens. All right, so this is the graph of f of x, and we can see, we can find the vertex and the distance traveled by looking at second trace. Let's look at the 0 first. So number 2, I'm going to scroll down. We did this in a previous lesson. So I'm going to do left bound. Click on some point left of the 0. Scroll past it. This allows your calculator to zoom in and isolate that. So 80, 0. That's the distance traveled. So this one, the second golf ball, traveled 80 yards. And now we need to find the height or the maximum value as well. All right, so the height would be your vertex. It would be up here. So let's go second trace. This time we want to find our maximum value. All right, we have to go left bound, so we've got to scroll all the way back to the left side of the vertex. We know the vertex is up top there somewhere. So hit enter. Then we're going to scroll back to the right side of it. Again, you're trying to help your calculator know where you're looking. So we're looking in this area here. Hit enter one more time, and it says your maximum is at 40, 32. So 40, 32. Now, 40 is halfway between 0 and 80. That's your x value. That's your horizontal distance. That's your x-axis. 32 is the maximum height. The maximum height would be 32 here. That's your y value, 32. So you can conclude that this one went 32 yards high. So this one is long, this one is high. All right, so it says the path of your second shot is modeled by the function which shot travels further before hitting the ground, which travels higher. So you can see that the first golf ball went further by 20 feet, right? It went 100 yards and the other one went 80. And the second golf ball went higher, and 32 yards high is 7 yards higher than the first golf ball. So because 100 is greater than 80, the first one traveled further, and because 32 is greater than 25, the second shot traveled higher. All right, that's all for this lesson. If you have any questions, please let me know.